Welcome everyone to today's Publishers on Air webinar. And honestly, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us here. We are excited to have you here. Today, we'll be learning about the basics of app monetization in Google Ad Manager. And this session is geared towards web publishers who are interested in learning best practices and solutions for monetizing and optimizing their mobile apps. So please remember, this is an intro session. Before we get started today, I want to note that we do have a Q&A. We'll be answering questions at the end of the session, but feel free to ask questions that you have as we go through by clicking the little blue Ask a Question button that's under this video. And please keep your questions general, not account specific, so that it is relevant to the whole group. And again, we will review them at the end of the session. There's also the option to upvote questions. So please do upvote those that are relevant to you as well. So let's go into the agenda. First, we will cover some of the market trends and insights focusing on EMEA, since that's who we're presenting to today. And then we'll review some different formats that you can monetize your apps. We'll review recent updates related to brand safety, share more about open bidding, content URL, and then go into those questions that you have. I'll do a quick round of intros. My name is Caitlin. I'm a revenue lead. I sit in the UK, and I'm joined by my colleague Jorge, who is a technical solutions consultant who sits in Spain. So first we'll start with some overview, some major trends around apps to give you some context. The first major trend that we should see here should really come at no surprise, and this is there has been a general increase in mobile device usage over the past couple of years. And this trend is definitely expected to continue even after 2020, as you can see on this chart. And we really can't ignore the fact that the pandemic has undoubtedly accelerated the growth of the mobile space, with people using their devices and even leaning on them now more than ever. And as you can see, even though mobile does consist of web apps are a key component of that mobile experience, which is why we're here today to support you with all of the tools to help you take advantage of apps as a way to grow your business. So let's dive a little deeper. Over the past year, we've seen 25% year-on-year growth in Q3 for average monthly hours spent on mobile apps. And this is globally. So the average number was in excess of 180 billion hours each month of July, August, and September. And overall, the past couple of years have seen apps grow. And again, it's likely that the dramatic shift in this user behavior due to the pandemic will also last beyond this year. And users are not spending their time aimlessly in apps. They're actually interacting and engaging with the apps that they use. So you can see here that the users spent a record 28 billion in Q3 of this year, largely for in-app purchases and subscriptions. And this means that you can not only earn revenue from ad monetization in app, but also direct revenue from your app. So if we look at the specifics here on iOS, we saw spend grow by 20% year over year to 18 billion in Q3 of this year, and Google Play grew 35% year over year to 10 billion. So that was a quick overview of why apps are important. Hopefully that, kind of hammered home that point that you should be focusing on apps, but let's get into some of the specifics about the different ad formats and how exactly you can monetize them. So on app, we have many different formats here. Some are familiar, namely banner ads, which are popular on web, also available in app. However, the full screen ads that are kind of like the bread and butter of the mobile app space, there are these full screen ads that you don't see as much on web. They're highly engaging, immersive formats that really drive opportunity to boost revenue with premium CPM impressions. And specifically, I'll touch on that more with interstitials. But first, we will start with native for mobile ads. So native ads are ads that match the design of the page for a seamlessly integrated user experience. And there are three main types of native ads. The first is content ads, which allow for like a generic text and image combination. We also have app install ads that are intended to promote and drive app installs, as their name would suggest. And then native video ads that would allow publishers to customize their implementation of engaging and high-performing video ads. Just a little more on native ads. They offer a whole, they're basically a more engaging and responsive ad experience for the user. And another important aspect of why these native ads are so important is that they're a quite flexible format for both advertisers and publishers. So advertisers can submit components or guidelines for an ad creative instead of a fixed ad creative. Then Google can transform those criteria into a creative or a pre-developed template in order for it to be best suited for the publisher page and then also aligned with advertiser priorities. So for a seamless ad integration and a better user experience, native is definitely the way to go, since it does create this less intrusive and more responsive ad experience. So moving on to our second format here of rewarded ads. So rewarded is also known as user opt-in video, and it's really changing the way that publishers monetize their video content, their content on apps. So advertising can now be mutually beneficial for both the user and the publisher. Users can voluntarily give their time to watch an ad in exchange for the content that they are consuming. And gaming publishers have really been taking advantage of this user opt-in video for several years. But it's not just gaming that has. We've definitely seen this gaining traction across non-gaming verticals. So like just some examples here, publishers are exploring the potential of leveraging these premium features, exclusive content, or upgraded services to incorporate rewarded ads seamlessly into their apps. So in-app rewards could be anything from like X minutes of free Wi-Fi or X free articles if you're a news publisher, to potentially like upgraded feature access, free music, for example. And one really great example is Vogue used rewarded web as a paywall before letting a user view an article for free. Sorry. And we've also had gym partners offer free Wi-Fi as a reward for watching an ad, which proved to be a great value exchange. So basically the user is gaining this Wi-Fi and the publisher is receiving higher eCPMs on their rewarded ads on app. So what's the user journey like? Essentially, the user reaches their article limit, let's say. They are then presented with the option of pay to access content or watch a rewarded ad. This publisher or this user, then chooses to watch the ad, and then they will receive the reward access to the new content. They can continue through their app journey. And there are several different types of rewarded video ads, and this wide array really allows you to choose what works best with your design and your predicted user experience. And that's a strategy that you guys can put together for what would work best on your app. Now moving into interstitials that I briefly mentioned earlier. So what are they? They are full page ad units that are served between screens during mobile app navigation. And it offers an immediate close button, while a video interstitial may have like a 5-second delay before providing that close button. They can also be combined with rewarded to offer increased value to the user and publisher, like we just touched on. And I know that in the world of web, full page ads are discouraged because of how intrusive they are, but in apps, interstitials are the norm and widely accepted. However, just to mention here, even though they are widely accepted, the frequency at which you place these interstitials will depend, it should be strategic and really should depend on like the design of your app and your users' behavior. Just keep that in mind. Moving on, I know we're going quickly through these, so please add your questions to the Q&A, and we will definitely review them later. And of course, you can watch on demand. But the in article and in feed. So in-article videos appear between paragraphs of editorial content, and then we have in-feed video ads that appear between items in a feed like news stories or social media, for example. They're both outstream formats that support fixed display ad slots on both app and webs. The main benefit to these is that you're able to tap into this video demand from buyers without having to create your own video content. So it's basically a video ad without a video player. So yeah, that's really great here. And they also command higher eCPMs. And then this is our second to last one that we'll discuss, but it's anchor banner ads. So publishers have a wide variety of screen sizes and layouts to handle, especially when it comes to mobile. And many publishers don't actually handle all the possible cases, which excludes some demand and results in banner ads with lower performance because they're not ideally sized for their placement. Smart banners definitely help, but they can frequently return ads that are too small in height. So that's where adaptive banners come in, because they use a fixed width provided by you, the publisher, and they optimize height based on performance and size, which hard limits to prevent the wrong sizes being returned. So for each device, the adaptive algorithm picks the best possible size and serves this consistently. And the user experiences bigger, better banners without any custom code that fits their screen. And just to note on this, we've seen an uplift of 20% for some of eCPMs that for publishers who adopt this format due to increased demand and fill. And I'm moving into the last format here that we'll discuss today, which is App Open. And it's a new format that allows you as publishers to seamlessly monetize your loading or splash screen. So now monetization is enabled from the moment a user opens an app rather than waiting for additional engagement to trigger ad opportunities. So as you can see here, the top 15% of the screen will be publisher branding. The bottom 85% of the screen is taken up by the ad. And it also ensures this native feel, which ensures that users are aware that they're within the app they're opening when they see this ad. So that was a very high level, very quick run through of all the formats that we have to offer on the app. Again, like I said, we can discuss any questions you have later, but I'm going to hand it over now to my colleague Jorge, who will go into brand safety and preserving the publisher ecosystem.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. So yeah, we are moving now to the brand safety, and this topic has the point of view from the advertiser side and also from the publisher side. And today we are focusing on how brand safety works for publishers. And we have a few features that Google Ad Manager provides for this. So first one, it's about the new App Policy Center that we have available in Ad Manager, where you can see anything that Google has detected in your apps that it's not policy compliant will be highlighted here, and you have one place to review and see what's going on with your app, with your applications. Here we have a few example apps with inappropriate content or something similar. From here you can select if you have already fixed the content. Maybe ads were displayed close to some, I don't know, violent content or something. And once you fix them, you can request a review. And if the review goes okay, your application will start serving again ads and continue monetizing. But while the policy violation is there, some demand might be restricted. So yeah, have a look to this App Policy Center and make sure that all your applications are okay. And the second topic we have is ads.txt. So you may probably know better the ads.txt, which is an IAB standard for the web. Ads.txt is the equivalent standard for applications, also from IAB. And it lets you make sure that anyone else cannot serve ads on inventory, on different inventory, saying it's yours. So whenever someone says it's selling your content or ads for your content, advertisers can be sure that it's you, and yeah, they are not allowed to do it on your behalf. This is very important because budgets coming from advertisers that are intended to go to your applications will not go anywhere else because you are protecting your applications, and only you can serve ads on those. How this works is there is every app store, be it a Play Store or iOS App Store, has a developer website link available for applications. From this link, ad manager or advertisers will look for in which domain it's hosted, and they will access the app.txt file, which is available in the root of that domain. So for web, it's one step easier because you just have to go to the root of the domain what you are browsing. In apps, you have to use this developer website link available in the stores. But this is great for protecting your inventory and making sure that only you can sell it. And that's all for brand safety. We wanted to highlight a couple of features. Now let's move to open bidding. What's open bidding and what can be used for? First, I want to highlight that open bidding is only available for App Manager 360 networks. So if you want to have this feature, and you don't have App Manager 360 yet, you may want to consider upgrading your App Manager network to a 360 network. We will explain how it goes, and you can think about upgrading the network based on this. So what's the problem here? What we try to solve with open bidding. In ad serving, we all know that there are several networks and ad exchanges involved in the ad serving ecosystem, and sometimes you want to get the best option for each ad impression, and you want to serve some impressions with one network and some impressions with the other based on the CPM that they provide. But the CPMs and the fill rates might fluctuate a lot during time, and even for each impression. So it's not as easy as finding which is the best network for each impression. The existing solution that was in place for some time was mediation. And mediation, what lets you do is you can integrate with many of those ad networks or ad exchanges, doing the integration with all of them. But this has some disadvantages that we are listing here, a few of them. Like you have to integrate multiple SDKs. The SDKs is the code that each network or exchange gives you to integrate in your app. And this has both a longer development time because you have to integrate with many of these SDKs, and they also make your app get bigger. And big applications might not look like a problem here, or we have some devices with lots of memory, but sometimes users are limited in the memory or the apps number that they can install, and it's based on size. Or even in some countries, based on the network traffic, just to download the app, and they might consider not installing your app if it's quite big. The second disadvantage that we have here, it's that mediation works in a waterfall mode. This means that the first network listed or ranked in the list of available networks will have the first chance to serve the impression. But if that network doesn't have a creative to serve, the waterfall will go to the next one in the list. This other network will have the opportunity to try to serve a creative. Again, it might not fill, so it can go to the next element or the next network in the list. And this is adding lots of latency to the ad request or to the impression serving. And we all know that the longer it takes to load an ad, the lower CTR and the lower performance that it will have. And the third disadvantage that we have listed here is that working with so many networks in mediation mode forces you to have multiple integrations, multiple billing and reporting interfaces, one for each network, and you don't have a unified place where you can look for how your network, your advertising is performing. So how it works in with mediation still, it's several networks are listed as in the ad manager configuration, and they are ranked by CPM, by the expected CPM they want to or they will deliver based on historical results. And also AdX, the Google Ad Exchange, will be in that list of mediation partners. Based on this, we will get an estimation of how much revenue is it possible that we will get from this mediation chain, because we have several networks in the same list in a chain. And this will compete with other line items in the network. And if it wins, this full chain will be provided to the application, and the application will start doing this waterfall thing, asking first to the top network. Then, if there is no fill, it will go to the next element in the chain, and so on. But it's possible that the first network doesn't serve, and you end up serving maybe in this example the fourth network in the chain, and you only get these $2 for this impression. So yeah, it's possible that you don't get as much as it's listed in the first network. So open bidding is the solution for this, because it creates a single bid or a single single auction. All networks compete at the same time in a server-to-server integration, and they already know which user is accessing. Like, they know the data of the ad request. It's not ordered by historical reasons. It's ordered because they really want to bid this amount for that impression. So as it's done server side, the response from Ad Manager will already be one impression that can be served to the application. And if open bidding wins compared to other line items, this will serve to the mobile device. And yeah, we don't have this waterfall problem. So yeah, it's here we have the benefits of open bidding listed. So it's one auction based on real-time bids coming from networks. You don't have this idea of sending an ad request that might not get filled. If they bid on that ad request, it's going to get filled. The second highlight is we have a single common reporting interface where you can see the performance of all your network, all the networks that you have integrated in open bidding. And you also get one single payment. So you get a payment from Google, and Google will pay, and the networks will pay Google, and you don't have to get the payments for each network in a different place and yeah, handle that in a different place. And the last point is that we have fewer SDKs integrated. So integrating with Ad Manager gives you the possibility to integrate with many networks in an open bidding mode, and you don't have to do custom developments for each one of them. So it's much easier in development times and integration. We have here some of the open bidding partners that are available in Ad Manager. At Colony, App Loving, Index, OpenX. We have a few of those highlighted here, but the list is much bigger. And it's available in the Help Center. It's very easy to find, like open bidding partners, and you will find it in the Help Center. It will be up to date on the Help Center there whenever a new partner is integrated. And you have like we have highlighted those that are really relevant for applications. In this case, it's the mobile app columns for Android and iOS and for interstitials, and also the rewarded video, which Kathleen explained before, because we have a different set of partners, because that's a video integration and it's something slightly different. And here we have some stats of what we have seen. Well, this is a case study from Halbrick, some game developers. They saw a 30% increase in CPMs and a 10% overall revenue growth. So great numbers just by integrating with open bidding. And yeah, we think it works great. Next topic we have is content URL, and we will explain what's the idea behind content URL. So sometimes when you are using apps, you might have seen that the content of the app and the creative, the ads that show with for that app are not related at all. In this case, we have a weather app with some baby toys ad that it's not relevant for the user, at least not at this time, and it won't work as well as if it was something related to the content of the app. So content URL, it's the solution that tries to improve this problem. We know that doing contextual targeting in an app is hard. It's a challenge because apps cannot be crawled via web crawler like Google can do for websites. So if we don't have the information on what's on the screen, it's impossible to do this kind of contextual targeting. This leads to poor user experience because they see ads which are not relevant to them, poor advertiser return, because if the ad is not relevant, it's hard that a user will click on it and convert on the advertiser side. And it also leads to poor eCPMs. Content URL offers this solution to provide more information on where the ads are displayed. And the objective is to improve the user experience, the CTR, and the revenue. And how this is done? So imagine you are browsing a recipe application or showing recipes, cooking recipes. And again, in that example, you still have the baby toys ad. But then imagine that you add, in the ad request, you provide the information of a website, a URL, that has the same information that you are currently watching on the app. With this information, ads can be contextual and can be relevant to users. In this case, we have now ads for ordering ingredients for a recipe, and which is much more relevant at this time for users, and are expected to work much better. We have seen uplifts or averaging up to 60% for text-heavy websites or content providers like applications and websites, like in the vertical of news. But also in other verticals, we have good improvements in the eCPM, in the revenue generated by the app. It's something to have in mind when you are developing your app to provide this kind of information. And how to do it? We have the guidelines here, the guides for Ad Manager and Ad Mob. There are two modes of content URL information that you can provide. When you have a one-to-one mapping from what you are seeing on the app to a website, a URL that you can provide, you could use exact URL, and this is expected to work better when you have this kind of one-to-one mapping. But sometimes you don't have this one-to-one mapping, and you only have you have a website, you have some content, but it's not mapped in the same way in the app than in the web. In this case, you can rely on contextual matching, which is you provide like a search on your site. Say in the weather today, you could do a weather today plus Lake Tahoe search, and Google will try to find the best URL with the similar content in your case, and will generate, will provide that information in the ad request, and advertisers will know what's on the app, even if it's not a one-to-one mapping with a website. It is possible to mix this kind of integrations, these two options, using exact mapping and context in different sections of your site. Like the menu can have exact mapping or contextual mapping, and when you are browsing one exact recipe, you might have the exact URL, or in a travel application, if you are when you are on the menu, you just say that it's a travel application, and you don't have a one-to-one mapping, and you provide just the contextual search. Okay. The way to report on content URL. So it's very important to report and see how things are performing when you do one integration like this. So in ADEX historical reporting on Ad Manager, you can filter by mobile applications, because we are focusing on this now. And then you can select sites as a dimension, and add requests, like the number of ad requests that have that site as a metric. And based on the values that you see on that site's dimension, you will know if the ad requests are coming with a content URL provided or not. And again, this is only compatible with the ad exchange metric. But this is the way to report on that. From here, I handle back to Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. If any of you guys have any questions, now is the time. I see that we have two from our group. So I'm going to remove the slides now so you can just see us. So please do add them now. We have two questions from Christian. Let me read them out. So the first question here that you posted is, you don't mention standard medium rectangle ads 300 by 250. Is that because they're not good at monetizing CPMs on mobile web?
I can take it. They are great for monetizing in apps, but they are considered banner ads. So with banner, we have what we call the sticky banners, which show at the bottom of the screen, but also the banners, the image banners, the rectangles that show in other places in the app are called banners. The integration is the same, and the size, the 300 by 250, works great on apps.
Thanks, Jorge. We have one other question, again from Christian. So is it a first price auction on open bidding?
Yeah, so it's a first price auction everywhere in App Manager right now. We used to have a second price auction because in some types of auctions it works. It's more fair. But when you are mixing things from different networks, there were some places where bid won in one of the networks, but then didn't win the impression because this second bid, this second price was in place, and we moved to first price because in this complex ecosystem it works better. But it's first price everywhere now.
Yeah, and just to build on that, your unified pricing rules that you set up across your account, those also apply to open bidding. Oh, we got more here. Jorge, this is definitely for you. For open bidding, the ID form for Google Apps or add apps.txt is enough. Oh, we have more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the app.txt, you can get a generated version on the App Manager interface, and it will provide all the information that needs to be added there. With your, so you will have in the add request, you will have your network code or your ID, and if this is in the app.txt, it will work. Nothing else is expected.
Thank you, Jorge. Okay, just getting another question here. So the app open format, is it using the same usual size like interstitials, or at a specific size, hence demand?
So I think it's using the same for demand. I would need to check. It's already documented in the help center. It leaves some room for your application branding on top of that. I can't remember if it was like 15% or something like that. So users will know that they are opening your app, but yeah, the demand is, if we can get all the demand already existing for interstitials, this is something better. And I think it's possible. I would need to check, but it's definitely, it must be in the help center.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking the help center for that, for the specifics. Okay, so now let me read another one here. Okay. When is an ad refreshed in app? When I have a 60-second refresh set, does the 60 seconds only count when the ad is in viewport? When the user scrolls down and the count is reset, does it start from 0 when it gets into the viewport again?
Good question. I'm not sure about the specifics on when the ad is refreshed. Again, I would need to check this. In some places, you can, when you are specifying that you want your ad units are refreshing, you can force a refresh when the user does some actions on the side, on the app. But there's also the auto refresh, and I'm not sure how it goes in there. Yeah, probably if they are for sticky banners, which are always visible, it's just the same, and it just refreshes when the time is over. But for when you scroll and the ads are hidden or not displayed, I'm not sure. We would need to check.
Yeah, we can check on that also. We'll just reply here to the questions.
Yeah. you can these pending questions you can ask your account manager, and we will work on getting an answer to you.
That's all that I see from the questions. If anyone wants to add any last minute, that's fine. Now's your chance. If not, oh, here we go. Okay, so from Mark, if my app has different pages and a lot of page views, how many ads can run daily on one ad? Can ads be related to page views for CPM? Well, Mark, there's no limit on the amount of ads that you can run. It's just basically, you obviously don't want to overwhelm your user. It's really the balance between user experience and monetization. And then you can definitely run multiple ads on multiple pages. And then, yeah, so the CPMs, like, of course, if you have higher viewability, more page views, more impressions, more ad requests, etc., the CPM, it does factor, though all of those KPIs do factor into the CPM. Okay, another one. Oh, we get a lot at the last minute here. So the Policy Center for apps provides less detailed information than the Policy Center for web. Is it possible to integrate it so that to help better solve the reported problems?
I can take it. I don't know. Sometimes it's true that we don't provide all the information, like what was. Sometimes we know you asked for which was the image that triggered some policy violation. Sometimes, yeah, we don't provide this. We just say, okay, you need to review what's the content on your app to fix it. Yeah, sometimes policies can be a little bit tricky, but the idea is that ads need to be, so these protections are for advertisers, and we need to protect everyone in the advertising ecosystem, and advertisers don't want to show their ads close to violent content or something like that. Yeah, it's I don't know. We could probably provide more information. I don't know if the product team will add every detail there. We can give your feedback, but the idea is that you should fix the you should review the content of the app and make sure that everything is under the policies for App Manager.
Thanks, Jorge. We've answered all the questions here on this page. So if there's any others, please ask them now. I'll refresh the page. Okay. There's no new ones. I'll refresh one more time. And if nothing else, then that's our cue to end. Okay. Well, thank you all for being with us today and for joining us. I hope that this is a great intro to how to monetize your apps in Ad Manager. Of course, for any account-specific problems, please, or questions, sorry, please ask your account managers. That's what we're here for, to help you. And yeah, best of luck with your app monetization journey. Also, this is available on demand, so do bookmark this link. You'll be able to watch this back if you should have any questions that you missed throughout the webinar. So thank you all, and have a great day.
Thank you. See you.